Sean Whaley is furious.
He's upset. 100%.
Oh, what a time to be alive. Welcome in, everyone, to another edition of Axe Kick Picks, episode 117. Today is Friday, July 5th, 2024. Happy 4th of July to everyone out there. Hope everyone had a good week. I am D-Rock, and joining me from the beautiful state of South Carolina, the legend Joey D. Joe, how was your 4th, kid?
Doing good, man. It was all right. Got one Friday Fight 69 that was on this morning, and then later tonight, LFA is live on UFC Fight Pass. You mentioned Invicta getting their debut last week. This week, LFA is getting their debut on Fight Pass, and it'll take place at 9 tonight. It is Brazil versus Latin America, headlined by Carlos Leal, representing Brazil, and Manuel Mian, who is representing Latin America via Venezuela. So La Vino Tinto. So I think Venezuela's got a soccer match tonight. We've got a headliner Venezuelan fighter. So a lot going with the red wine.
4th of July was good with the fam. Did you see some fireworks?
Nah, no fireworks.
No, South
Different
Carolina.
type of fireworks.
South Carolina doesn't believe in fireworks, kid. What's going on?
I don't know what's going on.
I hope you saw the video of Alex Pereira. He's literally one of the boys having a Zyn pouch in the river in Connecticut, just doing some tubing. Like,
What a guy.
I tried to hate him so much, but I can't.
You can't hate that. You can't hate that, man.
Boys. Anything on that real quick?
Yeah, I know. I love it. And it's just the relationships he's creating around him. Like the brotherhood he has with Glover Teixeira and who's coaching him, but also his head coach and Paulinho Cruz, who's also they're so tight, man. So just seeing the three of them get together and get along and go out on adventures, and then taking on last minute replacement fights and winning. It's a sight to see. It really is.
I mean, just besides that, just doing the normal human stuff, changing a tire on the side of the road. Like, I just think he's people. I think he's just a genuine good person. And I think it's very rare.
Nothing, bro. Honestly, we talked about it before. His past being in the tire shop, struggling with alcoholism and overcoming that. You really coming from the ground, started from the bottom. Now we're here. Starting from humble beginnings, it reigns true. It creates and develops your character and being the person who you are today.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the videos. Him and his boys, they were out swimming in the lake and packing a Zyn pouch. I mean, this is the guy, bro. I mean, he's the man. I love him. We got a good
Zyn.
Yeah, honestly, right now I need that. But we got a good show for you guys today. No MMA, but we loaded boxing weekend here, especially here in Brick City. Shakur Stevenson debuts last fight in Top Rank. He will be a free agent after that. We'll talk about that. We also have Nate Diaz. I think that's the headline of the weekend. Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal in California. That is going to be a really good fight as well. And then we got Money in the Bank up in the 6th in Toronto.
Money in the Bank.
So we're locked and loaded. We got a lot to talk about. Nothing to recap, so we will start with the Perth card. August 27th, UFC 305. A bunch of fights got announced. We got Kai Kara France and Steve Erceg, Junior Tafa and Walter Walker. The Leech is back. Lian Zhang Lang will take on Carlos Pereira. Jack Jenkins, he'll take on Gavin Tucker.
Oh, wow.
Josh Cubiolo is taking on Ricardo Ramos. I mean, it's all locked and loaded. It's headlined by DDP taking on Israel Adesanya. By the way, did you happen to catch that old school late press conference Tuesday night in Perth?
Yeah, I saw it. I was good. I forgot what it was called. It was like a postcard press conference.
It's an old. The way they described it is it's an old school press conference to let everyone know tickets are on sale, trying to hype up the fight a little bit. It's kind of old school. They don't do it for every fight, but I actually liked it a lot.
Bro, honestly, DDP's got aura, bro. And Izzy was holding his own. I thought it was a really good conference because, I was wondering what was going on. It wasn't an official pre-fight press. It was just, like you said, like that postcard press conference, and both are ready. They look ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. Really, the only thing, if I gotta be a critic, the only thing I didn't like is you gotta put the two city kickboxers next to each other. I get it's the versus whoever, but Steve Ursig next to Israel Adesanya, DDP next to
Yeah.
Chance after he's about to fight his friend. It was just weird.
Yeah.
But it was good. I love the after where they had that intense face off where no one was backing down. I loved it. And instead of the whole race card, I think DDP should go on this. He was saying after the fight, after they left and did the face off and they were walking back to their car, he goes, I could feel it. He wants to quit. I'm killing him in the mind games. He doesn't want to be here anymore. Play that. I don't think we're getting too caught up in the race and, you're not the true African. That gets messy sometimes, man. Let's go to that.
Who actually wants to be there in the octagon and wants to win the title, regardless who has it or who lost it. That you want to know who's there for the belt and who wants to be the champion. And
yeah,
I mean, I think both want it. I don't know how much I would play into those words because I don't really get that from either one of them. That's why I say that this main event is looking enticing. I think that the more they build towards it, the better it'll be. I think the bad blood, the hotter takes we get from one another, I think it just makes for a better UFC 305. It really does.
Yeah, 100%. He has success over there. We all know what happened the first time he went over to Perth. I think it's really, and Izzy saying, I'm still here. I still have a desire. He goes, I'm getting that feeling and that love back. And I think that's a dangerous thing. This guy really has nothing to lose. He's already cemented his legacy. It's DDP who has all to lose. So yeah. I agree. I would watch those words, but I think that's the kind of role both of them have to play. It's like he's on his way out. And then Izzy's like, I'm gonna remind him I'm still him. Y'all must have forgot. So I thought it was amazing. But out of those fights, by the way, they need to get my man Dan Hooker on the fucking card. He'll fight anyone.
Oh man, might as well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Might as well. I mean, now my question raises, I knew you were gonna ask me what fight do I like the best? Am I most hyped about, right?
Besides, because I know might be Steve Ursig and Kai Car-France, but outside of that, there are some bangers.
I like the Jack Jenkins fight, seeing him return. I think that makes for an interesting one. I think he's super talented, so to see him get back in there and mix it up would be great. But I had to go on a little tangent, was to think, we talked about who maybe deserves the next title shot, but being that it's in Perth, I would hate to say that Sean doesn't deserve to weigh in as the backup fighter. But because it's in his own backyard, I mean, man, maybe it makes sense to have Robert Whittaker weigh in as the backup, just in case. We have to have it with these type of main events, and God forbid anything happens to either competitor. I don't know. I feel like Robert Whittaker being right there, it makes more sense to me. But like you said it before, Sean Strickland does have success in the Down Under.
Well, that, and also I think it makes a ton of sense for Robert Whittaker to do that because one, he has history with both fighters. Yes. Two, it's from his house. Three, he just weighed in about 2-3 weeks ago. He's probably on weight or kind of around the weight. It's probably not going to be a big cut for him, and it's a chance for him to make an extra couple $1,000, whatever they're going to give him. So
6 figures.
Yeah, whatever they give him. But we've been Sean Strickland has been so adamant this last month and a half that he will not fight again. He is the number one contender. He will not fight Robert Whittaker. He will not weigh in as the backup fighter. Do you think that's going to work against him in the long run?
In this instance, yeah. So like I said, if that's the case and he's made that stance, then the UFC may oblige. And they very well could say, you know what, Robert Whittaker, we need you to do this. And then if it doesn't work out, then they could go from there and see if Sean is going to get the next shot, or, if DDP loses the belt to Izzy, very well could have a rematch, and they might leave no option for the person who might have weighed in as the backup and the one who voiced his opinion in Sean Strickland.
No matter who wins August 17th in Perth, does Sean Strickland fight next for the belt?
Man, I think I'm on the same boat as you. I do think that regardless of what he said and his sentiment towards it, as much as I like both guys, I do think they need to fight. I do think that we were supposed to see it. Robert Whittaker for Sean Strickland, that would have determined who was going to get the next title shot without Izzy intervening. The fact that he made a case for himself, he has bad blood amongst the top 3 in that division. and this fight making a lot of sense for 305. I think it's fair, maybe undeserved, as you can argue. I'm not going to go that route, but like I said, all the questions that are being asked and answered, I think we need to see Sean Strickland fight Robert Whitaker to fight the winner of DDP versus Israel Adesanya. I think that's the most fair. It probably makes the most sense. I think the division could work itself out from there. We got guys on the rise. We're gonna have to see this top 5 be defended by guys on the rise. So I think you have to open it up by having the top fight the top, and then it'll settle after that.
Yeah, I agree, because Nasruddin Imavov is sitting there at number 4, and they might run it back with Jared Cannonier or maybe a Brandon Allen. I was hearing rumors
we forget about Brandon Allen. He had a good performance. And
what about the guy that the boogeyman no one wants to fight in Hamza Shemaev? He will. I guarantee you, he wins or goes out there and starches one of a guy like Paulo Costa or Marvin Vettori or Jared Cannonier. He's going to get a title shot. They love this
and if
guy.
let's say he didn't get sick and he made weight and he went out and blitzkrieged Robert Whitaker, there would have been no argument. It would have been him for the next title shot, and not no matter what Sean Strickland, it would have been Hamzat. But same could be said if Robert Whitaker ran through him, it would have left no doubt. And that's why I say that, with everything that was said and everything that's being done, it kind of makes sense the way I laid it out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we talked about it a few weeks ago. I just think that makes the most sense for a little clarity in the middleweight division. And I will go on the stance and say, they said Izzy doesn't deserve it. He does deserve it. He was a promotional workhorse for the longest. Him and Alexander Volkanovski were the most active champions. He deserves an instant rematch. I don't mind about that.
That's the thing too. And we're bringing in 2 different continents, right? You're going to have the American scene. We're going to have African scene now. We're going to see, Izzy's popular around the globe. This could be a very sought after pay-per-view.
That's what I'm saying. From a business standpoint, the UFC has to take this.
It makes sense. And honestly, as people may not want to hear it, where Izzy's at in his career, it makes sense. Like you said, it's I think it's fair. Like I hate to say that because a lot of people don't like Izzy, and I think that's what's coming into play. The fact is, all the facts you laid out, I think it makes sense where he's at in his career, where the division is at, the bad blood in the past between the champion himself, the bad blood he has with the other guys. I mean, if he wins, not only will he might have to get the rematch, you got all those other fights we talked about that could be made between Izzy, or if Izzy wants to move up and fight a 205 champ, as he failed to do so before in the past, maybe, all the history he has with Alex Pereira, that could make for an amazing trilogy and super fight.
Now, the last fight to be put on this card, I'm advocating for. I'll be the first one to put my name at the forefront. Dan Hooker needs to be on this card. The whole City Kickboxing team. And the one nice, if he didn't get hurt, was Carlos Ulberg. But he's sitting there at 11th in the lightweight division. It looks like BSD and Moicano are going to fight in Paris. So 10 and 12 are out. You put him against a Rafael Fiziev on his first fight back. Benel Dariush. What do you see, Dan Hooker, if they do wind up maybe a Jalen Turner, RDA? Bobby Green's fighting Paddy Pimblin in a few weeks. What do we do with Dan Hooker if they want to get him a fight in Perth?
Damn, man. I feel like there's a lot that they could do with him. You know what I mean? Didn't Dan Hooker at one point fight at 45?
Yes, he did.
Right. He fought at 45. Not that he's going to have to go down and cut there, but I feel like maybe, we saw it with the last minute replacements, guys fighting at 155, 165. You know what I mean? Maybe if somebody wants to move up and weight from the featherweight class, like maybe a Brian Ortega. I know that's a tough fight, but it could happen. Or maybe having Dan Hooker go up to 170 and fight someone there, or stay at 155. I feel like Dan Hooker's going to be very flexible, and maybe they want to keep him in the back pocket for a future event, but why not get him on this card? He'd be in his own backyard with his own fans. It could be good to kind of get Dan Hooker back on track, fighting in front of his own people.
I agree. I think it only makes sense if he's there with his team, coaches, and he's going to have support. He'll help sell the card as well. So I think they need to get Dan.
You like that? The Brian Ortega wants to.
Yeah, because he was on his way to bulk up to 155. So I do like that. I just wonder, health-wise, can he successfully go up a weight class in what, a little over a month?
And deal with bigger guys, more power.
And I
probably-
kind of like Dan Hooker's gonna want to bang. So
Yeah, that's what
not
I was saying.
First
Like,
easy fight.
no, Dan Hooker against anybody is gonna be a tough. Like I was thinking, like, yo, if he went up to fight Colby Covington, I think I would favor Dan Hooker against.
Oh,
Colby Covington.
he would knock him out. Oh my god. Oh my god. Don't get me started to Colby Covington. We got a little UFC Denver update. I will be live in the building next week. Joshua Van, your boy, fun fight against Charles Johnson. They put together.
Wow.
I love that. These guys are gonna brawl.
Yeah.
We got Montel Jackson taking on Damon Blackshear as well. And Drew Dober's replacement is Juan Silva, who we just saw as well. So 3 replacement fights for UFC Denver. We have 13 on the card. A little better, kid, right? We need positive vibes.
So wait, Drew Dober is fighting John Silva, right? Who dropped out against Drew Dober?
It was Mike Malott or someone.
Mike Davis. Oh, Beast
Mike
Boy.
Davis. Yeah.
Damn, man, Mike Davis is not caught. He has a torn bicep, bro.
Like that was gonna be a barn burner.
That was gonna be such a good fight, and I hope I'm speedy. I like Mike Davis a lot. Like you saw him in his last outing, he looked like he never left the octagon. He was on a 2-year hiatus and it looked like he never left. So to have that injury happen again, that's a shame. I wish him speedy recovery, but that's a good replacement, man. John Silva looks to be a dog, man. We saw him. I doubted him last out. Drew Dober has the record for most knockouts. I think this is going to be a fight that doesn't make the judges' card. Drew Dober and John Silva there. So
what do you like? Because you've been on record for a few months now talking about how highly respected and how highly you think of Joshua Van. Taking on a guy like Charles Johnson, coming off a nice win. What, this one's not going to the judges' scorecard, I don't think.
Yo, Charles Johnson's weird though, man. He seems to draw fights out and get to the judges because I don't think he's lost a single fight inside the distance. He's only lost on the judges' scorecards. But Josh Van, bro, like, you know, we saw it with him being able to push, you know, put the pedal to the metal. Like he just pushes the pace and just, you know, brings it out of the guys. So I mean, 4 fights canceled in a row. I need Charles Johnson, shout out you for stepping up and taking this fight because it doesn't seem anyone else wants to fight Josh Van. So with that being said, Charles Johnson being game, Josh Van had talent. Man, this could be a fight of the night on the early prelims. Man.
Oh, we're good at calling them too. Yeah. So I can't wait. And I think Montel Jackson versus Damon Blackshear is a good prelim fight.
Montel Jackson's very talented. I think we backed him. Didn't we back him one time?
Yeah,
and
a few weeks ago, or maybe like a month or two ago.
Let's see. Last time he fought, no, it was just last year, brother. Yeah, I remember we backed. I was thinking, oh, Hani Yahya, remember? Oh, he might submit him, and we're like, nah, Montel Jackson's gonna beat his ass. First round, ground and pound.
Yeah. So watch out for that. But yeah, I thought it was a nice little update. I was happy now. Now I'm happy.
You're in for a good treat, bro. I think it's gonna be an entertaining fight night.
We will see there. Let's go. By the way, I wanted to something that the UFC anti-doping website released over the weekend. I thought it was very interesting. The top 3 most tested athletes in 2024. Can you name them?
Probably like Conor McGregor.
He is 1 at 10.
Most tested?
Yes, this year.
4 this year?
3 were the most tested. I'll go from down to... No, Islam Makhachev was tested 4 times this year.
Oh my God! What?
John Jones 2, Tom Aspinall 3, Alex Pereira 3, DDP 3, Leon Edwards 2, Islam.
Is this the amount of times they've been tested?
Yes, this year.
Oh, not the rank.
No.
Okay, so it's Conor McGregor is at 1 with like what 60 times being tested?
No, 10 times this year.
Wow.
Number 2. Can you guess?
Yeah, man.
It's a guy.
Okay. Tom Aspinall.
No, I said Tom Aspinall's only been 3 times.
Damn, man. I'm thinking of like champs and stuff. Maybe Topuria.
The King of Rio, Jose.
No way. What?
At
Why?
8. I don't know. And Ilia Topuria, you said, is 3. Sean O'Malley 4. Wow. The champs. So the drug testing sessions for the champs, the 2 most, Sean O'Malley at 4, and Islam at 4. Everyone else, all the other champs, Rocky, Zhang Wei Li, Alexa Grasso, all are between 2 and 3.
Wow.
And then the third one with 7, two-time gold medalist champion Kayla
Henry
Harrison.
Kayla Harrison. Wow. I mean,
at
I get it. I was thinking about injuries coming back. Maybe they're trying to catch him there. And you're saying this is what, USADA, not Free Sport International?
This is the new. They got rid of USADA.
Yeah, so it's Free Sport International.
Yes, this was per the UFC anti-doping website that they released with their freelancers. So they released it over the week, about 2 days ago, and I thought this was very interesting.
Yes, and the reason why I asked if it was 60 is because it seems that they're very lenient as compared to USADA, who was very stringent. Because by this time already,
oh yeah,
Conor would have been tested 60 times. You're saying he's only 10 times and he's number 1? Yeah, Free Sport International isn't as rigid as USADA was. So people are probably getting away with some
100%. You like John Jones 2 times, Leon Edwards 2 times, Alexander Pantoja, Raquel Pennington 2 times, Alexa Grasso 2 times, and then every other champ besides Sean O'Malley and Islam 3, Zhang Wei Li 3, Ilia Topuria 3 times, DDP 3 times, Alex Pereira, Tom Aspinall, all just tested 3 times. So there's a lot of leeway, I think.
But now, me saying that, I do want to hear from the fighters going forward, because a lot of them said it was inconvenient how USADA approached the testing, and they were, getting into the personals of people's lives, like trying to know where their whereabouts are 24/7 and not giving any privacy to the fighters. So I want to hear from the fighters on what they think of Free Sport International, because I could take it back if it turns out that it's just making the lives better for these fighters. Then I'll rescind my statements of them being not as stringent.
I agree, because you've heard so many stories where fighters, like, they're ringing my doorbell at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. I'm on vacation. These guys need to know where.
Classic story. He's like, they're like, oh, well, we're outside your house right now. He's like, I'm not even home. I'm at a seminar across the country. He's like, what do you want me to do?
These people just show up, and if you go on vacation with your family, you have to let them know, like, bro, I'm trying to get off the grid. I do not want to let you know where I'm at.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I'm trying to escape you.
Yeah, literally. We got a fight for UFC Noche in September at this Fear. Michel Pereira will take on Anthony fucking Hernandez September 14th. What a fight.
That's a great fight. And Michel Pereira, he's explosive. I feel like, with Fluffy Hernandez, he's such a dog, bro. Like, you got to catch him early, I feel like. Otherwise, Fluffy's going to make it his fight. Like, that's what he's so live. And I bet you he's going to be the dog. I would definitely I think that Pereira would be the favorite into the fight. But, I think he's going to have to, throw caution to the wind early and try to get Fluffy out of there, who's not easy to finish. Like, even if he gets him hurt, I think Fluffy's still going to be there. So, man, I think Fluffy's going to be a dog, and I think he's going to be live. That's a great
Guess
fight.
whose line? I got it.
There is lines. There is line.
Yep.
Michel Pereira, like -175, -180. Fluffy, almost +200.
Fluffy Hernandez -162. Michel Pereira
Complete
+136.
Yeah, complete opposite, bro.
They believe in Fluffy Hernandez.
So yes, and that's what my whole thing was. I would expect that, a lot of the casual people or Vegas would have said that, Fluffy's the dog in that. But the fact they have him as the favorite kind of shows what my, thoughts of the fight would be.
I wish he was the favorite, because if he was a +150, +160,
I'm taking it.
Oh my God.
I'm all hesitant. Now I'm a little hesitant. I have to look into the fight a little more.
We got some time. It's only September. But it's gonna be a top 15 bout. Michel Pereira 13th in that middleweight division, and Fluffy Hernandez at 14th. I think this is a good step up in competition for both of these fighters.
Yeah.
So we will see. We got a fight in Abu Dhabi, August 3rd. Our boy and John Jones trainee, Dontel Mays taking on Shimel Gizaev. You like that fight for Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, I like that fight. We can see how Shimel Gizaev, comes back from his previous performance, which was god awful. And Dontel Mays kind of had a sleeper before. I think we're searching for a Dontel Mays finish. We have yet to see that. But I think it's a good fight for Abu Dhabi. They like seeing the heavyweights get in there and mix it up.
Unfortunately, my boy Neil Magny, they put him back in the Apex UFC Vegas 96, August 24th against Michael Morales against Neil Magny.
Ooh, that's a tough fight. And Morales, I think, still undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
he's looking like a superstar, to be honest with you. Like, he's been very impressive, and man,
that's
Neil
a tough fight for Neil Magny.
It's a tough fight for both of them because Neil Magny, he's like a mythical fighter in the Apex. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
I probably would favor Morales though, just because the prime of his life, the youthfulness. But it's not, you could always have that first taste of defeat, and hopefully it kind of set you up for further success in your future. But sometimes there's guys that are just too talented and they work hard, and I feel like Morales is one of those guys.
3 things we never doubt: tax, death, and Neil Magny via decision.
Yes, sir.
UFC Vegas 97. We're gonna get to 100 by the end of the year. UFC Vegas 97 is September 7th. Felipe Dos Santos will take on Andre Lima. What a banger!
What a fucking fight, bro! I've been waiting to hear Felipe Daytona fight news, and we got it. And man,
his hands are sharp.
Registered, bro, 100%. And Lima, bro, surprise, late notice replacement, gets that submission victory, bro.
Yeah,
man, he could have he could have a lot of talent. So let's see. Wait, you said Andre Lima or Felipe Lima?
No, Andre Lima.
Andre, like, he got bit.
The guy that got bit. Yeah.
You know what?
That's
he
crazy that we bring him up because of that context.
That's how you connect them, bro. But no, Felipe. I thought you said Felipe. I was thinking about the submission victory. Andre Lima seems to be able to stand up with the best of them, and he's got hands as well, bro. If that is that like an early fight too? Like, I'm gonna be locked onto that card if that's the first fight of the night. Bro, they're starting that card off with a bang if that's the first fight of the night.
And that's at the Apex UFC Vegas 97, September 7th. So, yeah, that's all the MMA news. I got a little boxing news. Our boy KSI will take on Slim and Anthony Taylor in Misfits Boxing.
2-on-1.
2-1 fight, August 31st in Dublin. What the fuck is this, Joe? Is this like a tag team?
I'll be real with you. If KSI wins, that shit's fucking rigged, bro, because Anthony Taylor alone should knock him out. And the fact that Slim might get in there and mess it up though, so maybe that
Slim knocked out my boy Salt Poppy.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, KSI should get knocked out in there or get lost bad. Like,
this is embarrassing. Like, what is Misfits putting on?
Like, you if someone knocks him down, like if someone knocks KSI down, someone has to hit him on the way down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a mess. It's entertainment, but I really will go on the record and say if KSI wins that, it's rigged.
My question is, like, is it going to be 2 guys in the ring punching them at one time, or are they going to
tag team? Get the tag.
Oh, like, what are we
KSI's beating up Slim's ass, and then Anthony Taylor's on the rope. Get the tag.
Level of interest, because mine's at a negative. I don't even care to see it.
I could care less about that. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if KSI is going to win that fight, it seems super rigged to me. Like, bro, like, if we went there to fight one person, if it's that same type of level, not talking about if we're going to go fight John Jones, obviously he guillotined both of us with both arms. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's 2 guys in there at the same skill level and the same size. Like, KSI should get mobbed. But if he knocks out Anthony Taylor and knocks out Slim, it's like, bro, like, we're living in La La Land.
Yeah. This is insane what I saw. And then they had the face off in the cage 2v1.
Where's John Fury? We need
John Fury.
Headbutt the glass.
Ring Magazine updated their pound for pound top 10.
Wow.
Number 1, Alexander Usyk, no surprise. 2, Inoue at 2. 3, Terrence Crawford. 4, Canelo Alvarez. My guy, welcome to the top 5, Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Wow. 6, Artur Beterbiev. 7, Dimitri Bivol. 8, Tank. 9, Earl Spence. And 10, Junto Nakatana. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
So, thoughts on my boy Jesse getting into the top 5?
Shout out Bam. I mean, we said it. The fact that he cleared out his division, his original weight class, cleared it out, held all the belts, defended all the belts, and was like, you know what? I'm a little bored. I'm going to go and move up, challenge myself. And he did that. And He's already got a belt. So, I mean, he's on his way to clearing out the
All
division there as
before
well.
25, kid.
Yeah, so young in his prime. Like I said, that fight could be possible. A super fight between him and Inoue down the line. I think they would want Jesse Bam Rodriguez to go ahead and actually finish what he set off to do, which was to clear the division out and yet again and win all the belts. So, yeah, he's going to have to do that first. Inoue might have to defend, or like I said, the other thing that could happen is Inoue moving up as well, and then that fight may be harder to get. But I think deservedly so. If you clear out an entire division, hold the belts, defend all of them, and then you go up and do the same thing, I mean, yeah, you're 100% top 10 pound for pound fighter.
Do you disagree with the rankings? Would you put
I
Jesse
like
at
it
5?
because I think we were underestimating for Fury. You know, I think
I
what
agree.
put a bad taste in our mouth was him getting knocked down by Ngannou and almost losing that fight from a guy who's never boxed professionally before to doing that. I think we're like, oh, Fury's not legit anymore. I think he was still top 10 pound for pound prior to that fight. So the fact that he won the Ngannou fight and then lost the Usyk fight, I think put a lot of stock into Usyk. Olympian champion, cleans out the cruiserweight. As much as we saying for Jesse Bam Rodriguez, same thing was done for Usyk. Clears out the cruiserweight division, defends the belts there. Now he moves to heavyweight and gets his first belt, and now he's on his way to cleaning out the division there as well. So, yeah, I think it's right. Bud and Inoue 1 and 2. I mean 2 and 3. A little bit of an argument based off the level of competition that Buds have compared to Inoue, but Inoue's performances have been lights out. So I think based off that, that's where you give him the nod. So yeah, I think it's fair. I think the ring has done a good job. Canelo being ahead of Bivol, Beterbiev being ahead of Bivol, I think is fair. A little bit of shade to Bivol because he beat Canelo, but I think if he proves himself against Beterbiev, I think that'll speak for itself because you beat Canelo, you beat Beterbiev, both guys ranked above you. How are you not ranked ahead of them?
That's what I'm saying. If he winds up winning in a few, then he has to be above him.
I think so. I think Canelo shouldn't lose too much stock, and unfortunately for Bam Rodriguez, he if Bivol wins against Beterbiev, I think you put him at 4, Canelo at 5, and Bam gets knocked out of the top 5. Unfortunately, but I think it's fair.
Yeah, I think it's fair too. And the only guy I really don't know is that guy at 10, the Japanese fighter Junto Nakatani. What can you tell me about him? Is the guy legit?
Yeah, he's got the same type of knockout power that Inoue has. I think he's an undefeated fighter. Just fighting at a very lower weight class, like lower than Jesse Bam Rodriguez. There's another guy down there that's Japanese that they were contemplating putting up for the pound for pound, but Nakatani has more of a heavier professional schedule with more of a knockout percentage. So I think that's why he made it. If you looked at the other rankings, I don't think he'd be up there. I think he might be like an honorable mention. So,
all right. And then speaking of Canelo, reportedly he might go after Jermell Charlo or Edgar Bargana. September 14th remains a possible date, though he may end up fighting a few weeks later in September.
Yeah, they can't keep running. I think he's gonna have to wind up fighting the Charlos, and get that O from him. You know what I mean? So if Charlo wins, I mean that does a lot for his career. So
yeah,
I think that's the fight that should happen between them before if there's any rematches or anything else.
Yeah. And then lastly, on a kind of a crazy note, Ryan Garcia has been expelled from the WBC for the language he used in a Twitter live. No place for that. I don't know if you were able to catch his live, but he was.
No, I heard like a little bit.
He was insane. Yeah. What?
So what is it? He's banned from
he's already facing a year suspension,
personal relations. Yeah, he's facing suspension with the drug testing, right?
For New York Athletics Commission.
Yeah, man.
And now he's expelled.
I said it before. I stayed on that horse, and you were like, "Yo, you got to come down from that horse." But I've said I do think that there's something going on. You know what I mean? I did say that, right? Say that he's playing a part. No, I genuinely think that this is like who he is. You know what I mean? And that's how you get some good fighters, man. I mean, being a little crazy or just being you know what I mean, like chaotic in a sense, like like look at Mike Tyson. He had a pet tiger, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? Like,
I think this is a little bit different though. He's out here.
Yeah. Yes, I know. But I was just saying that like it for you to be like a success, not that's the meta or anything, but it just tends to be that the people that are doing this sport are a little bit on the wild side. And this is, of course, extremely inappropriate. But you know what I mean? I said it wasn't off brand. I called this, and it's unfortunate it did occur, but I kind of stayed on that horse, which you told me to come down for.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty evident now that this isn't a role. Like, something is clearly wrong with Ryan Garcia. I am in the firm believer of second chances and, not kicking a man while he's down. But the people around him, his family, his teammates, his trainers, his manager, they need to grab a hold of this guy and say, hey, like,
his parents, especially, that one hurt me. That tugged at the heartstrings.
Like, they need to get this guy some help, therapy, depression, whatever he's dealing with. He needs help right now. And I don't think expelling him is the answer, because I'm not advocating what he did. There's no place in the world for that. But there are people who beat up their wives and beat up children that aren't expelled from the WBC. That is my issue. It's not consistent throughout. I think you're seeing a young kid make mistakes and basically make an example out of him when there are grown men who know better. Not saying he doesn't know better either, but there are grown men doing, I think, a little worse than this, making some poor judgment and inexcusable words, as opposed to men putting their hands on women. And
it's being hypocritical because they're backing them when they're completely cutting ties with Garcia.
In closing, I hope Ryan Garcia does find help and hopefully one day finds peace, because he is an extremely talented boxer and we would love to see him out there again, but he needs help right now. And I think that's pretty evident. But yeah, that's about it. That's all I got, kid. Before we get
to right the ship. That's all.
Like we all do. Before we get to our picks, quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. There's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition, with only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV. Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around the golf with the boys or an elderberry watching Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with the Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, okay, let's get to these picks. Last Man Standing, that's the name of the event. It will go down Saturday night, 9 p.m. You guys can catch it on, I know the undercard it's Famio. It's the guy who it's the promotion that put together Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather. The Zone, YouTube's on the prelims. It's UFC Fight Pass as well. You guys can catch it on. Event starts at 7:30. Actually, Ryan Garcia's younger brother's on the card. Sean Garcia. He's fighting at 135.
Wow. I heard he's very talented.
He is very talented. They're fighting eight rounds, 3 8-minute rounds. He's in not the co-main, the future fight of the night against Amin Vargas. So he has a big fight on his hands. And then in the co-main, we got Anthony Showtime Pettis against our boy Chris Avila. And then the main event is at 175. Nathan Diaz taking on Jorge Masvidal. 3 10-minute rounds. I want to say it's going down. I don't know if it's the Forum, but it's somewhere in California. But
probably the Forum.
Yeah. So, right now, Jorge Masvidal -225, Nate Diaz +225. Joe, I'll let you lead it off, kid. What do you got here for the main event?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the dog. I've been saying it for a couple months now. We were supposed to see it a month ago. I had Nate Diaz there. You know, I think Jorge Masvidal, when they fought in the MMA ring in the octagon, Jorge had a full arsenal to work with elbows, knees, kicks, you name it. And obviously that's what kind of stopped the fight with the kick down low to Nate Diaz. And that's the thing. Nate Diaz is a pure boxer. I think, his cardio is going to be his biggest weapon here. And I do feel like he can outbox Jorge Masvidal. If he keeps it at range and he, somehow though keeping it at range still puts the pressure on Jorge, I feel like he could tire him out. I do feel like he's been training a little bit more, a little bit better. Jorge came out of retirement. He didn't look that good at the beginning. Now he looks a little better. Looks like he's been more dedicated to the training camp. And also he does look better coming in, which, could mean he's been working hard and all that. But I want to go with Nate, who has been looking the same. He's always in camp, training, doing classes, riding the bikes, doing decathlons. Like, he's always in amazing shape, he and his brother. So I got to take a value here. As much as Jorge, I think, will have the knockout power, you got to mind Nate Diaz has boxed with like guys like Andre Ward. Andre Ward never lost a boxing fight. And when you asked Andre Ward about how Nate Diaz sparred, bro, he gave Andre Ward a run for his money.
Yeah.
So, man, he's sparring with tough training partners. He's putting in the work. I think there's value in the dog in this spot. It's not like it's a Jorge event or a Nate event. It's an equal chance on both of them. So I got to go with the value pick here. I think there could be a finish late for Nate Diaz, but it's most likely going to be a victory on the scorecards, unanimous, majority, maybe even a split decision. Seems like a lot of these gimmicky fights, even though I don't feel like this is more of a gimmicky as ones we've seen in the past, we've seen a lot of with these fights going to draw. So there's always a chance of that too, but that's something I wouldn't play. I don't think that's as likely as it is with the other one. So with this, yeah, give me Nathan Diaz plus 200, 225. If plus 225 as you get, take it. I'm gonna take the value with him here.
Yeah, as much as I love Nathan Diaz and the Diaz brothers and everything they stand for, I got to take Jorge Masvidal here straight up. Minus 225. I do like via decision as well as plus 135. I think there's a chance it goes all 10 rounds, but the fight to go to distance, minus 186, still a little chalky. But, Nate Diaz, he's shown his toughness in that Jake Paul fight. He absorbed a lot of hard shots over the course of a 10-round foul. He even found success later in the fight as it went on, and that's usually how it goes in Nate Diaz's fights. And there's no doubt Nate Diaz has the cardio to go all the rounds. And, Masvidal's not really showing the type of striking that, put people away in the octagon. I think it's safe to assume that, these two are going to fight to a decision. I just don't see much in Diaz anymore besides, propping himself up. It's going to be a huge payday, rightfully so. He has earned that. But, I think he's mentally gone. I'm actually surprised they got this many press conference out of Nate Diaz. They went on like 5 of them.
He went out and attacked that streamer that was trying to clown him.
I was just going to ask you about that. The guy's a clown. We'll talk about that in a sec. But I just think he's going through the motions. He's going there for a paycheck, and for him, he has nothing to prove. His legacy's already set. He's a legend. Really being game bred right now, what does that really do for it? I don't know.
Get him re-signed with the UFC, baby.
Yeah, I think it's an accomplishment just getting in and staying 10 rounds with Jorge Masvidal. I think he wins. I think he has the power advantage, and I think he goes all 10 rounds. So I'm going to take it via decision at plus 135, get some plus money here. Any thoughts real quick on the co-main? Because it is Anthony Pettis and Chris Avila.
I think Chris Avila could give him a run for his money. I really do. He's got, I think Chris Avila trains with Nate Diaz, right? Does he not?
He does. Yeah, that's his boy.
Yeah. And I feel like that goes in the same. They're in the same training camp. They know that they have to be in shape. They have to spar as much as they do. So I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. He's probably obviously like a big dog, right? Compared to Showtime Pettis. I didn't see that. So
I'm looking, but the only odds I see for this fight
was
card,
the main
was the main event.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would go on record and say that Chris Avila is probably like a plus 300 dog against Anthony Showtime Pettis. He might be teetering around minus 350, 400. As much as I do think Chris Avila is going to give Showtime some problems, I probably wouldn't fade Anthony Showtime Pettis. Coming from the bare knuckle boxing, he's had the experience in there too. He knows how to use his hands. He seems to be defensively sound. I don't think he'll be brought or drug into a kind of war of attrition or drag him out kind of war. I don't see that in the cards for him. So I probably would go with Anthony Showtime Pettis via decision. I think you could probably do the same for the main event on my end. You didn't have to. If Nate Diaz is plus $200 dog, you don't have to go specific prop, but I'm with you. I do see that possibly making a decision as well as the co-main event.
Yeah, remember Chris Avila just beat, I think, in that Dallas card, Jake's card a few months ago. I think maybe December. Excuse me, where he beat Jeremy Stevens. So Chris Avila could fight. Yeah, so no lines there, but I do think it is a good fight. By the way, you mentioned it, that guy Nee on the stream. I'm all for, new blood and new reporting. We're trying to enter the zone as well, but there's a difference between being funny and just being flat out disrespectful and being lame. Like what you're doing, and to a legend like Nate Diaz, and I think he handled it so good because he was like, bro, I got fucking 2 girls right here. I'll fuck you up.
You got girls that'll beat your ass.
Yeah, like what are you talking about? Like guy was trying to get clicks for his stream, and that shit's just whack in my opinion, though.
It'll wind up like Sneeko. Do you remember when Sneeko sparred Sean Strickland?
Yeah, and that Navy SEAL wanted it. A Navy SEAL wanted to Sean.
But Mick Aguiar fights. Like he actually fights. It's like Tim Kennedy. Like they're members of the armed forces.
Kennedy.
But they actually are, fighters. They actually are servicemen and women. So that was different. But that just shows levels. But yeah, they wind up like Sneeko and wind up in the octagon against Nate Diaz. Be in the world of hurt. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's just stupid. I mean, these people, they're disrespecting legends like Nate Diaz who put their lives on the line. Like, I don't see how like that's funny or
it's not.
It's like maybe at all. They're losers. Like, the shit is whack. It's just though,
like if you're young, it's like kind of rebellious, and then that's where it is. It's like kind of catering to the younger audience. It's like, oh, we're so cool because we're bold and adventurous and stuff.
They're plants. They're planted there. Don't get you wrong.
It's because they just don't face any consequences because you're a kid. But Neon is an adult, and it will be dealt with adult consequences. So we'll see in the coming months what comes of it.
Yeah, I think they're make no mistake. I do think they're plants. People are putting them there. It's just lame. It's embarrassing, and they need to get these guys out of the fight game. It's a shame who thinks like these people putting them there is a good idea. It's actually pathetic.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Like I said, I'm all for new media, but come on, like
let's get good riveting media, guys.
Yeah, have fun, do your thing, cover the sport in a respectful manner. But asking dumb, disrespectful questions to fighters just to create a viral
or that too.
moment,
people like drama, as we all know too well.
It's just tiresome and dumb, and that is where I will leave it at. Let's go to Shakur Stevenson in Brick City.
Yeah,
Newark. What's the guy's name? Artem.
I got them. Artem Harutunian.
Yeah. Big favorite for our boy Shakur Stevenson, sitting at a minus 2,500 plus 1,420 for Artem.
Is he Armenian?
Oh,
he's an Armenian fighter.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay. Let me see.
Let me see. I'm on his tap out. No, he's German.
Really?
German.
How about that? But you know how
what do you like?
Ilya Topuria was German and came by way of exactly. Armenia. Yeah. I recognize the last name. Armenian last names and an IAN or YAN. And so that's why I thought. But yeah, he's fighting way of Germany. So look, his record 12-1. I mean, last fight loss is what he's coming off of. It was a loss to Frank Martin, bro. We saw Frank Martin get knocked out by Tank Davis last time. Round 5 finishes, one retired, a left hook finish, a lot of decisions. I was going to say that maybe he's got like a power advantage as compared to Shakur Stevens, who's going to have the advantage everywhere else, but I don't even see him having much of a power advantage. It seems that he's outclassed his opponents in the past, but what is Shakur Stevenson known for? Outclassing even the most classiest of fighters. So I don't necessarily think that Artem is on his level. I don't think he has a shot in this one. Unfortunate to say that Stevenson doesn't finish this fight here, but it's most likely what's going to happen because the lack of power he possesses. It's going to have to be a volume finish. But if that doesn't come easily, if Artem is as game as they say he is, I think Shakur Stevenson wins this fight via decision. I saw it at minus 125. It's probably the best value you can get. I think you might get some plus money if you see he gets a finish. I don't see it based off his, performances, based off Artem, how he can drag it out to decisions. Though he's in his backyard, it's possible, but I'm not willing to take that chance. I'm going to go with precedent. I'm going to go with Shakur Stevenson via decision at minus 125.
Yeah, you must have got it way early because I got Shakur Stevenson as well via decision at plus 130 this morning.
Really?
We're going to see how bad Stevenson wants to impress, his home crowd and the public. And I feel like even if he decides to step it up, I expect the first few rounds be timid, tactical, measure out his opponent. In the past, Shakur Stevenson, he's shown blitzing capability, his hand speed, his efficientness, his combinations that he's able to do. He kind of overwhelms his opponent sometimes, but he could also sit back and, pot shots, come in and out, win on the judges' scorecard. And, seeing how Artem struggled against, like you mentioned, Frank Martin, when he got into a rhythm, he started moving his hands more. I just expect Shakur Stevenson to kind of have the same success here. Unlike Frank Martin, who, he took longer than I thought to adjust to Artem's style. Shakur Stevenson will probably sweep the early rounds. He's much more accurate puncher. I think he's more comfortable on the feet. And once he feels that he's kind of winning this fight, I think he's going to coast and, bring up the intensity a little bit. And, I get it. Shakur, he lacks Frank Martin's power. So I'm not expecting a stoppage, even when the bout becomes increasingly one size, which I do think it will be. But I think Shakur Stevenson dominates in his last
Artem
fight.
went the decision with Frank.
Yeah. So, like I said, he didn't even get him out there with his power. So Shakur, I don't know if he'll get him out there as well. Last fight with Top Rank. He will be a free agent after tomorrow. Hopefully, my boy Eddie Hearn gets him over.
I was gonna say, yeah. What are his promotions again? It's not Queensberry.
No, it's Matchroom.
It's Matchroom. I'll be honest. I was gonna say wherever Eddie Hearn's at, because he spoke so highly of Shakur Stevenson, and he's not promoted as well as I would like him to see. So if he's a free agent, I think that you just mentioned, I think Eddie Hearn may pick him up.
Yeah, Bob Arum, I love him. He's a legend of the game, but he's doing a bad job representing the top 5 pound for pound guy in Shakur Stevenson, in my opinion. But yeah, I know there's obviously more fights on the card. We just wanted to take care of our guy, Shakur. Anything else you wanted to talk about on this boxing card here at The Rock?
No, I'm glad we talked about the co-main event and last man standing. I didn't see really anything, pop out at me on this card. I think it's going to be a good card. Don't get me wrong. I think my attention might be split elsewhere. Co-main event's interesting. O'Shaquie Foster, I think last time he was on the brink of defeat and then knocked out his opponent who was going to, take his super featherweight title. Conceição, right? The guy he's fighting, man, though he lost his last fight, he looked really good. People argued that was a robbery for Robson Conceição. So, yeah, that's a fight that looks good. Abdullah Mason's fighting on this card. Keyshawn Davis. These guys are undefeated Americans, and so they're on the rise. I mean, other guys on the card all have kind of losses going on in there, but those are probably the 4. The 2 fights to keep an eye out is the main and co-main, and then the 4 guys is total. Abdullah Mason, Keyshawn Davis included there as well.
All right, and then let's go to what I've been waiting for. Money in the Bank in Toronto, Canada, at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, where the Raptors play.
Scotiabank,
be on. What did I say? Scotiabank.
Scotiabank. It sounded familiar. I was like, I think it's Scotia. Yeah.
Scotiabank on Peacock, July 6th, Saturday, 7 p.m. here on the East Coast. We got 5 fights announced as of right now. World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest taking on Seth Rollins. Men's Money in the Bank. We got the women's Money in the Bank, obviously. The Intercontinental Championship between Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. Woo. And we got the 6-man tag team. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens versus The Bloodline. Oh, my God. I love that one.
The fake
let's
line.
see.
The fake line.
Where should we start We'll start with that one. The Bloodline taking on Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes. Who do you got for this one?
Okay. Yeah. As much as you think, like, all the bad blood that the Bloodline have been spewing even amongst themselves, and like, we're gonna have the good guys win. I think they win. I think the Bloodline is gonna win against Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, KO. I do. Something's telling me that they need to stay strong so that when like Roman comes back, that just makes for a better story. So I'm just going based off that. To see them lose right now in this spot, I think would diminish a lot of what the storyline has been building towards. So yeah, Cody Rhodes is in the mix, but he doesn't have to take the pinfall to lose. He doesn't have to look bad in there. He's just kind of there. So as the face, the good guys look better, Randy Orton, KO. So, regardless of my biases towards the faces, I do think the Bloodline will win.
Yo, when the Bloodline put fucking Paul Heyman through the table, the wise man, bro, I was in my one weekend. We're gonna hear the music when Roman Reigns comes out, and the Bloodline. That storyline's become one of the most amazing things. I don't think the product's ever been as hot as it is. Obviously Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, KO. They won't make it easy for the Bloodline. I guess Jacob Fatu, I think he's going to guard the ringside kind of as their quote unquote enforcer.
The next enforcer 2.0.
Yeah, exactly. So, since the move for SummerSlam appears to be Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for undisputed WWE champion, it only makes sense that the Bloodline wins this one. So I am going to go on the opposite side. I'm going to go Bloodline here. Let's go to the men's Money in the Bank. We got Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso versus Chad Gable, Carmelo Hayes, LA Knight, and Andrade.
Yeah.
Andrade. Who do you like for this one?
So are we missing a contestant, though? They have another one to announce tonight, or they're all announced?
From what I see, this is the official thing on WWE.
So we have 6. You have Andrade, Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah, that's 2. LA Knight, Chad Gable, Jey Uso, and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, that's 6 right there. Damn, Drew McIntyre. I didn't see him before. He makes me pause to think that, he might try to give Damian Priest a taste of his own medicine, but I digress. I'm going to go with the NXT superstar being called up, and his nickname as is Mello's Money. Mello's is money. I'm going to go with Carmelo Hayes, man. I think the UFC's high on him. I think but a better way to promote him than to put Money in the Bank on him. Bro, you get him in the mix early. I like Carmelo Hayes. I've watched him in the NXT ranks, and now he's up in the main roster. I like everything I've seen about him. It goes in line. So I'm going to take a chance on Carmelo Hayes. I bet you that'd be plus money if we had odds out.
I'm expecting a little interference in this match, and to be honest, I think there should be one. I think the WWE could go a bunch of different routes, and I feel like I'm good at gauging the interference ones. They could go the CM Punk route, costing Drew McIntyre the briefcase, Wyatt 6, maybe prevent Chad Gable from becoming the Master in the Bank. Ultimately, I think the company will go with the United States champion Logan Paul ruining LA Knight's moment as well. He's in here. That would set up a stage for the U.S. title match between those two at SummerSlam next month. So I'm going to take Drew McIntyre. I still think he might get screwed, but I think this is his moment. I think they eventually give him one here. So I'm going to go Drew McIntyre to win the men's Money in the Bank. Let's go to the women's Money in the Bank ladder match.
Anytime you want.
Io Sky, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, Chelsea Green, Zoe Stark, or Valkyrina, or Lyra Valkyria?
Yeah, Lyra Valkyria. And you wouldn't think I'd do it, especially after Zoe Stark got announced. I think she's like a player and for the title picture, but man, I'm going back-to-back NXT superstars here. I'm going with Lyra Valkyria. I think they're high on these people. Why would they call them up and have them win against, ex-champions? That's exactly what happened when Carmelo Hayes and Lyra Valkyria got called up. So I think the WWE is high on them. I think Hunter's high on them, Triple H, Paul Levesque. I think they love these two. They could be what like Charlotte Flair and Seth Rollins were when they were called up from NXT as champions. So, but mind you, they were both NXT champions, men and women's. So, they have the pedigree as champions. They got called up to the main roster, wins over former WWE champions, and now they're in the Money in the Bank. I think they can give them both the briefcase and have them as viable players for the title picture in the future.
Chelsea Green would be very entertaining, I think, with the Money in the Bank briefcase. But
her
I'm
lack
gonna go
in-ring ability.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the heavy favorite here, Tiffany Stratton. It seems like a boring pick. She is the favorite, but there's no doubt that Stratton's, she's in for these big things on the big roster, on the main roster. So, how do I think? I think she could get help.
Champion. At former NXT
she could
champion.
get help from her best friend, Nia Jax. I could see Nia Jax coming in and helping Tiffany Stratton, become that fucking girl throughout her time with the briefcase, ultimately going their side between the two. So I'm going to go Tiffany Stratton here for the women's Money in the Bank. Let's go to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest will defend his belt against Seth freaking Rollins, kid. Woo! How do you see this one going?
Man, the return of Seth Rollins, bro, it leaves me for pause, thinking he's live, thinking he'll go and get the belt back immediately. I don't see it. If you want to keep Damian Priest as champion, I think you got to keep him kind of strong here, and defending it against Seth Rollins is an act in doing so. I like Seth Rollins a lot. I do feel like it would be fine if he got the belt back, but it just doesn't do good in terms of the storyline and where they're at. So I regretfully have to pick the Archer of Infamy and think Damian Priest will retain the championship.
Yeah, I think there's a lot riding on this one. Priest, he has agreed to leave the Judgment Day if he doesn't beat Seth Rollins. And on the flip side, if the Visionary, quote unquote, I guess, fails to get this gold, then he can't challenge for the championship as long as Priest is the title holder, especially at SummerSlam. So, I think tensions are rising with Judgment Day. It hasn't reached the level where I think Damian leaves the group just yet. I think the company holds off to that at least until after SummerSlam. But I can see Damian Priest retaining, this championship. But Drew McIntyre will attempt, to give a taste of his own medicine by cashing in on him. I believe he wins. Then I believe Drew's plan will backfire as CM Punk will again ruin his night. So I got a lot going on there.
That's
but
crazy.
I do think that could happen.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think Damian Priest retains and Drew McIntyre gets punked again. That would
leave
the
Money in the Bank till next year. We don't have to worry about the contract being on anyone's head for a whole year.
Exactly. And then let's end it with the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Champion Sami Zayn will take on Braun Breaker. We thought they could take the title away from him the past two pay-per-views, but they continued to have a success and believe in Sami Zayn. Is it this one that they take it away?
Man, I don't know. Braun Breaker has been exactly that, a breaker of men, bro. He's been running through everybody. But yeah, I think Sami Zayn beating Gunther has done a lot for his career. You beat a guy like Gunther, I mean, you're like the guy now. You know what I mean? So for you to lose against anybody wouldn't make much sense. Because if you're really going to try to push Gunther, have someone beat the guy who beat him, it just, I'm saying it loses the legitimacy for both of them. And so on that basis, to keep Gunther strong, I think Sami Zayn retains and defeats Braun Breaker. We could see some interference, maybe Baron Corbin. There's some they left him like bad blood. Breaker and Baron Corbin, and there's history there between Sami Zayn and himself. Maybe he tries to turn face for Sami by getting over on his ex-teammate. There's a lot of things that could happen here. Or Braun Breaker can get himself just disqualified doing some crazy stuff as he has done in the past. We saw as soon as he got called up to the main roster, he's been making a name for himself. Yeah. So I do like Braun Breaker. Shout out Steiners. If you don't know, he's Rick Steiner's son. Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump. You remember him? You know what I'm saying? That chainmail.
Yeah.
Wolf. Mm-hmm. So back in the day, his team was the Steiner Bros. It was Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump, as we all know and love, and his brother Rick Steiner. Rick's son is Braun Breaker. So you
Braun
see
Breaker,
where all the
yeah.
powerhouse, comes from, bro. So it's in the family, it's in the blood. I love Braun Breaker. I see him as a future champion, even a top card champion. But for now, Sami Zayn will retain, but I think it'll be a great fight.
Yeah, Braun Breaker, I think, doesn't necessarily have to win this match. They can easily have Sami Zayn retain this, with the fluke pin or have Braun destroy him after the match. That's what I'm kind of leaning with. Breaker can certainly win an Intercontinental Championship. I did think it would be a little too early for him. The guy is going to be a multi-time world champion. I agree. He already has the crowd on his side, despite being an unpredictable kind of heel, I kind of would think of him as. But, I think it's important to note that Braun and Sheamus have unfinished business after, the son of a dog faced Grim Speared, the Celtic Warrior. So that happened a couple weeks ago. Maybe I'm thinking Sami Zayn wins here and we have a triple threat match at SummerSlam. Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn, and Sheamus.
Wow, I like that. Yeah, Sheamus can get in the mix immediately.
So, I agree. I think Sheamus retains. Only different on a couple sides here.
Sami Zayn retains. Yeah, that's it. I like where our minds are at. I feel like all of it could come true. It makes sense, though. On the Money in the Bank, man, anything can actually happen. So,
yeah, gonna be a great Saturday. But before we go, we have Joey. 10 seconds left. One Fight Night 23 tonight. Amazon Prime, all the way in Bangkok, Thailand. What do we got?
We're back, baby. That's right. And it's headlined by OK Ray Yoon. It's a pick'em fight, -110 against Alibek Razulov at -110. Razulov, Turkish undefeated fighter. OK Ray Yoon, man, only lost via decision. So I think this is a great fight to be made. But I got to go with the undefeated Turkishman, and I think Razulov gets the job done, possibly inside the distance for the first loss of Yoon's career that way. So, yeah, on a pick'em fight, I got to go with the undefeated Turkman.
We're back, baby. Let's fucking go. Have a great weekend. Good luck on all your fights, guys.
Turkey mentioned.
Like I said, it's going to start. Yep. It's going to start tonight with One Fight Night 23, Amazon Prime. Then we got a nice Money in the Bank up in Toronto. We got Shakur Stevenson fight and headline the main event, Nate Diaz taking on Jorge Masvidal. But that is going to do it for this Friday edition of Axe Cake Picks. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Joey, I am D-Rock. Make sure you guys follow along our social media, Twitter and Instagram. You can find Joey at 10 seconds left _. And you can follow me on Twitter as well at Rock with 2Ks 24. If you guys missed all of our episodes, no worries. You guys can find all of our episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We'll go live on YouTube as well. So hit that like button, subscribe, rate, give us a review, leave in the comments so you'll be betting on this week. All that good really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend. Good luck this weekend, and we will see you guys on Monday. Peace.